review of where we're at with the budget for reference.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people. Holy moly! Look at us.
We did it. We're gonna have a meeting. Heck yeah.
Should we start? Let's do it.
Good. I'm trying to pull up the roster right now for roll, but for whatever reason, Springfield Oregon Speaks is telling me I don't have permission to see our roster. And it's not on the agenda for today. I don't know. I guess we could pull up last time's agenda. That would work. Probably.
Yeah.
Second. Okay. Okay. Are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Alrighty. So I'm going to start with a roll call and then I'll come back on camera. Chair Bo.
Present.
I am present. Commissioner Fribley.
Present.
Commissioner Helmer.
Present.
Commissioner Donovan.
Present.
Commissioner Wood. Commissioner Wood is absent. Commissioner Swenson Harris.
I'm here.
Commissioner Howard.
I'm present.
And Commissioner Shannon. I believe it's absent. Okay. So, quorum being present, we will get started. So, thank you all for coming. Hoping to make this a very quick meeting. We have a slight problem. We have accidentally allocated some money twice. We talked about it last time. We actually thought when we made the previous allocation that I went through and grabbed the language. I don't know if anyone wants it, but the long and the short of it is Jenna and I joint crafted a motion that would give all of the money to Willamette at the end of the year. That's how it was crafted. We didn't set an end date. Then at our last meeting, we crafted another, or at our last meeting where we had a quorum, we crafted another motion that gives the remaining funds to a new project. And that was Commissioner Swenson Harris made that motion. That's a pretty obvious conflict. And so we are here to resolve it. Chair Bo, do you want to show us the actual budget? So just so we have an idea.
Yes, I can share screen. Here we go. All right, so I've been trying to resolve final items, and so ones that I've highlighted, just so you know, are ones that we'll still need to kind of continue to clean up as we go forward. But where we're at now is we have $4 remaining in the RLS. The consultant support, we have $1,750 available, and we may want to change that because that is a lot of money to carry forward. And sorry if you're hearing background noise. We'll need to verify that we can actually use our previous approach on that one. So Tom, I can work with you. There may or may not be funds available from that one next. Under the awards program, we have $159 per my understanding right now. We have an $840 expense noted there. So we just want to verify that's correct. Otherwise, I have the funding.com membership noted, and the National Trust for Historic Preservation membership noted. Tom, I'm going to need your help clarifying those ones because they weren't in the city's records. So we're gonna have to look at that. And then support partner efforts, the ILS, that one's been allocated, hasn't been invoiced for yet, but we anticipate that one coming through. Postcards, somehow that number got adjusted. But we have it spent 744, so we have 757 remaining on that one, which we could either purchase more postcards or allocate elsewhere. Training, we are moving forward with Dr. Lewis. That will be $855 and we'll have $645 remaining. The printing of the walking guides, we actually went over budget, and so we're removing some funds from that one. So overall, right now we have about $1,000, give or take, depending on what happens on these other ones remaining. There's a couple bigger question marks there, but I just wanted to kind of run through that, and I'll keep working on cleaning this up. I guess the bottom line is we will have a surplus that we could delegate to something, and we just need to decide what that's going to be.
All right. So, and just so I understand, it looks like we do need to transfer some money into the walking guides. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay.
Yes. And so that's already been accounted for there. We have the funds to do it. We just need to shift it.
Right. We just have to move it around. So let's start with.
1 second, Jenna raised her hand.
Oh, sorry. Didn't look at the, yeah.
Just clarifying. So for the awards for this year, it's $489.70. And that includes that, I guess that's a conversation that I was going to bring up this meeting. That I don't know if this is the time, Christina, you and I chatted, or I mentioned it to you earlier, but we have the decision of making 2 medallions versus making 6 medallions. The 2 are exactly what we need to just award the awards this year. 6 would be like there's one of the recipients, actually 2 of the recipients from last year that we're hoping to have an extra one made to put up on their building instead of just having it on, one on display inside. And then for this year, one of the recipients, I think, has a few different stakeholders that it'd be nice that they could each have one. But also we don't have to, or we can ask them to pay for the cost of their own extra medallions if we wanted to. So that's sort of a decision. So if we only ended up wanting 2, I haven't done the math, but it'll be significantly less money. This is the cost for 6 medallions.
Okay, so we're already budgeted for 6. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct. That's what that 490 includes. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I think we discussed that. Does anyone have a problem with 6 as is written now? All right, sounds good. We'll go forward with 6 then. Now let's fix our postcard, or not our postcard, our walking tour problems. Does anyone want to move money around? I might suggest from the either postcard, probably postcards is the best. Would be my recommendation to move $585 from postcards to walking tours.
Seconded.
Okay, moved by Commissioner and seconded. Is there any objection to that? Seeing none, we'll accept that by unanimous consent. And now to the big thing, what do we do with the rest? We've got 2 motions that have been passed, and we need, Commissioner Santero.
All right, so I would like to go ahead and move to rescind my motion June 27th, 2023 at 26 minutes and 5 seconds in that allocated the remaining funds to the Atlas project. I believe at the time we maybe had a bit of a misremembering of the situation with the previous commitment we had made around Willamette Lane. So I think this might be the cleanest way to resolve that.
Commissioner Swenson Harris has moved to rescind her June motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Fripley. So just so everyone understands what the effect this will have is. So if we were to rescind this motion, we will go back to the previous motion, which was to give it all to Willamette Lane. They have to request it, but then to provide it to them. And that's what we'll go back to. So it will be as if the previous thing has never happened. Do we have any debate or discussion?
That Willamette Lane can use that money and can claim it on the timeline that we might need them to?
Go ahead, Commissioner Bowe.
Yes, I can confirm that
Great, thank you.
on their behalf.
Is this money earmarked for anything in particular, or is it to be used carte blanche?
No, it is for the ILS. They had requested $1,000 initially, and then they came back with a request for $3,000 more. We said, well, we'll give them the $1,000, and then at the end of the year, we'll see what's left, basically. And so this is us seeing what's left, about 1,000-ish. And it's for the ILS of the, not the Bratton House, it's the Bratton School. Is that right?
Gray House.
Yeah, the Gray House.
Bratton, okay.
There a possibility to issue a new motion? That might include,
That might what? Sorry.
that might include both organizations. But it might include Willamette Lane as well as the Atlas Project.
There is a possibility of doing that. I think the issue is we don't know if the Atlas Project is actually eligible for these funds, whereas we know that the Willamette Lane Project is. Do you have any follow-up on that, Commissioner Howard?
No, thank you for that clarification. Certainly informs.
I can also chime in a little bit on this. We also, the Atlas Project has an offer from the city manager's office to help financially as well, cover outstanding costs on it. So, you know, this isn't going to be detrimental, I guess, if anybody's concerned about that. alleviate concern.
That is good to know. Is there any other debate or discussion? All right, seeing none, I think we're going to move to a vote. I'm going to actually take a vote because I know we'll have an abstention. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
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 All those opposed to abstention, please signify by raising your hand or saying no. Okay, one. And all those abstaining from the decision to rescind. I believe that is just Commissioner Bowe. Very good. All right, so we've rescinded that motion. So one last thing. Oh, Commissioner Bowe.
I was just going to request a little guidance from the commission on that consultant support, the 1750. If we are able to leave funds in there, how much does the commission feel is an appropriate amount to leave in that amount to cover us for the next 3 to 6 months period of time before our next grant funds come through? I think it's 6 months before our next funds come through. I don't know if people have thoughts on that.
Has just a really quick informational point, because we talked about this in June as well. Has Shannon indicated any willingness to roll it forward, and has the state indicated any unwillingness to let Shannon do that?
Shannon has done it for us in the past, and I have no reason to think she wouldn't do it again at this point for us. I have not verified it with the state fully, other than I think the last time we had her submit an invoice prior to doing the work, and we would need to confirm that the city's still okay with us going that route. I don't have confirmation on that. So it is a little bit of a question mark whether or not we can do that. And we'll be looking into that in the next couple of weeks, but it'd be helpful to know how much people think is relevant to carry forward.
Commissioner Helmer.
At our last meeting where we had a quorum, we also talked about whether it would be appropriate or helpful to have Shannon review the survey from Willamette CRM, just to provide a good look at that. I wonder if you guys had a chance to discuss that, those of you who were at the last meeting, and whether that still seemed like something we might want to do.
We didn't discuss it anymore, is my recollection, other than obviously at the June meeting, we were pretty excited about it, about that possibility. Turbo.
I was not at that meeting, so I apologize. I did listen to the recording and then didn't follow up on that item. So I can submit a request to Shannon to review it. She would need to complete that review very quickly because that RLS needs to be completed for SHPO like today.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I don't know that I agree that she could review it. I don't know that we can cycle back and ask WCRA to actually edit anything or make those revisions at that point because their contract's basically closed. They've met their contracting requirements at that point. But there might be something that she could review that would be helpful for us. I don't know if we'd want her to come and talk to us about it or I don't know, just throwing that out there. She could also do a training for us was another thing we had talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's her hourly rate, or how
Yeah,
much
that's what I was
does it
gonna ask.
typically cost for us to do a design review, for instance?
Yeah, good question. I think it's $100 and then there's like an administrative or an overhead. So it ends up being a little over $100 an hour. But for reference, in the last year, we've only used $250. And the reason it's $250 is because we also used some of those carryover from our last grant within that year. And so it wasn't over $600 that we used really in the last year, just as a benchmark. We didn't get very many applications. We may get more applications this year, so we'll see.
Commissioner Smith-Harris.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, given that information, does it make sense for us to expect that we would actually use this full amount if we were to ask to essentially pay in advance?
That was my concern, is that we would over allocate to that and she wouldn't be able to use those hours, in which case we could have her do a training or, try to create something that would be helpful for us. But it seems prudent to kind of be cautious and not over apply funds there.
Also, one more thing for the board to consider. We do have a project that can take these funds in the form of the ILS. And so just something to also consider. Does anyone want to move funds out of that category, the application review, into, I guess, support partner efforts? Anyone want to make that motion at all?
I think the motion would probably be to just change that allocation, right? Because any remaining funds are already being allocated to support partner efforts. So we just need to decide.
True.
Okay, if that makes sense.
But,
I guess.
But don't we have to put it somewhere, right?
We
just have money.
put it. We can. I think we can just have it remaining, and then it
Okay.
can
Okay.
go with the first motion.
maybe, Christina, do you think 6 hours of time, $600 left in there? Do you think that's a reasonable amount of time for 6 months? You're muted.
Somewhere between 6 and 10 to me seems pretty reasonable and provides us a good cushion.
I think I will motion to move all but 800 out of there, so that we have the equivalent of 8 hours of consultant support if we need it in the next period before our next grant comes through.
All right, Commissioner Helmer moved to allocate, to move, let's see, your $950 out of the application review. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Simpson-Harris. Is there any objection to moving that so that there is $800 left in the application review? Seeing no objection, motion stands approved. Last thing that I think we should do this evening, and then I believe we'll be out the door, is direct how Willamette can apply and by when they must apply. And the cutoff date for the remaining funds, because we actually did not set a cutoff date in our old Willamette allocation. We set the allocation at August 8th for our last motion for the Atlas. We decided that was a good date for all the administrative things to occur. I don't know, Chair Bo, do we believe that they could get the request in by August 8th?
Depending on what the request entails, I believe so, yes.
Does the board have any objection to just asking Willamette to send an email with their request for the remaining funds as authorized by our January motion, to send that to us by August 8th to Tom's okay with that?
Yes, Tom is okay with that.
Very good. I don't see any objection. So if Willamette by August 8th could submit an email to Tom requesting any remaining budget funds to be paid out of this year's budget, that would be what I believe the commission would consider to be requesting. Does anyone have any? Well, I'll ask one more time. Any objection to that? Very good. That is how Willamette will apply then. Any additional discussion, thoughts? Commissioner Bo.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna hold on to that until you're done with this one.
Okay. Think I have anything else?
Okay.
We're okay. Yeah.
I had one last follow-up thing for the postcards. Jenna and I were kind of talking about this, but we didn't conclude. So there's a remaining balance here for the postcards. The options on this one would be to either print additional postcards or leave that remaining balance in our remaining balance fund that would go to the ILS project. So I don't know if Jenna wanted to chime in on whether or not additional funds for postcards are needed or. Oh wait, we talked about moving the $500, so there's really only a few $100s there. I haven't cleaned that up yet.
Lee, do you have any thoughts on printing additional postcards?
I mean, if we want some more, we can print some more. They're all here in my office.
How many do we have?
I don't know how many are still floating around like at City Hall. Tom, I hear that you maybe just discovered a stash of historic commission related things. I don't know if there are any in that pile. Our most recent order, I'm looking
Yeah.
at really fast.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I do have a single stack that is still bound, but other than that, I don't think I have found any more.
Okay, and it looks like I ordered 2,500 more in this last batch. So if we're not doing a mailing or anything, it's probably, you know, a reasonable amount. If we're gonna do some big mailing again, then we might want some more, but if when our next grant cycle starts in 6 months, is that true? So
That's correct.
if we needed to get more than we could, I suppose.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe we don't need any more money there. I suppose we can either move stuff out or we can just keep it there and not print anymore, and then it will all get swept in.
Commissioner Donovan has his hand raised.
Yeah, Commissioner Donovan.
Yeah, this is, where's the doctor? This could be me, but where's the Dr. Lewis allocation for the thing on the 31st? I don't see it there.
It is in training.
Okay. Oh, there, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Bowe, do you still have your hand up? Or do you have your hand up? Okay. I personally would be okay with leaving it there and letting it sweep in. Commissioner Cribley?
Just to make sure that their chart's looking good. Basically on lines on under 7 postcards and envelopes, instead of 1,500 now, that should say 1,000, right?
Oh, right. I was trying to figure out where because I changed it, so it needs that 585. So that, yeah. Is that right? Did that clean it up?
That looks correct to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Wood.
It seems that we have all this budgeting settled. Do we need a final vote or anything?
I'm okay with it as it is, as long as everybody else is. I think the previous motion, I went back and watched the meeting. I think it captures all of these funds. So if everyone else is okay, any last thoughts before we adjourn? Commissioner Bowe.
I just wanted to give a moment of celebration for actually using our entire grant, which is the first time that I'm aware we have actually done that, and having completed 2 huge projects, the RLS and the ILS within this grant cycle, I think is more work than we have done from like a historic preservation side of things in a long time, or that we have been integrally involved with, not to mention the awards program starting up, which is huge for our community, and having some education stuff going on in our community. There's a lot that we have all contributed to through this. So I think we should all feel good about it, and I think we should celebrate sometime towards the end of the summer. Fortunately, we can't use our grant for beverages or snacks.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for the work you do to preserve Springfield's history. And as Chair Bowe said, congratulations to everyone, to the commission. Thank you. And I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 5 o'clock sharp. Have a good day, everybody.